Whatever I'm going to tell you today is something that I'm revealing for the first time. Probably no one else can explain the way how a day trader mindset for you guys to understand. I believe this will change the way how you perceive reading charts, especially for cryptocurrency in future. Okay, we are live. Yeah, it has been a long time since I do any type of stream. Hold on. Let's see whether this whole stream is working. Probably there will be some issue again. Okay, I guess it's working right now. Okay, today the stream agenda is very straightforward. Let me just introduce myself in a very short few words. I'm a trader with over 10 years of experience in trading forex, commodities, equities, and recently cryptocurrency. I was also an external auditor for some regional hedge fund and private equity firms in Singapore. So before I go on, right, please help me slap the like button. It might just take 50 seconds of your time, but it really meant a lot to me. So the agenda for today is just 3 main things. So basically, I'm going to go through what is Bitcoin. Second is the take profit zone and potential re-entry zone for Bitcoin. And finally, the Q&A. I'm sure most of you guys already know what is Bitcoin. But the reason why I still have to go through this is for the beginners out there who only roughly know some backstories of Bitcoin but have yet to really understand the real reason why the conviction of Bitcoin going up is so high. Just like how Elon Musk has such a strong conviction over Warren Buffett. Okay, so let's talk about Bitcoin. You know, there are so many components about Bitcoin, but if I were to give an elevator pitch, what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the truest money we should have had since the beginning of time. And just to make it easier to digest, right? Why is gold always considered the standard for money even during the ancient days like in the Egypt and Mesopotamia? Why is it always gold? Because number one, gold is finite. Okay? You can't find it anywhere else. Number two, out of all the precious metal out there, gold is the most stable metal. Number three will be, it'll take a lot of energy to mine a gold. You need to scan the gold, pay the labor, the cost of digging, feeding your workers, just to get a little bit. That is why it's so expensive. So bringing it to Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin operates in the same manner. It is like a digital gold. The fact that it's a scarce digital asset, decentralized and safe from hackers, right? And so difficult to mine, make it so unique. Okay, talking about the scarcity of Bitcoin, I think it's very important for me to illustrate a simple point. I'm sure most of you guys already know, but for the interest of some who don't know what this is about. Okay, the thing about Bitcoin is every 4 years, mining of the block reward is cut in half. In short, this means halving. This process is predetermined and will continue until the last Bitcoin is mined sometime in the year 2140. So the process can have long-term effects on the price of Bitcoin as seen on the chart. And most importantly, the total number of Bitcoin in circulation is 21 million. And that's it, no more. Okay, now looking at the chart. This is very important for us to pay attention to. If you look at the chart of Bitcoin since January 2009, okay? Since January 2009 is the start of Bitcoin, whereby 50 Bitcoin is created every 10 minutes. So the first halving occurred on November 2012. The second halving is July 2016. And the most recent halving was on May 2020. Do you notice something? You must bear in mind that every halving, it actually affects the supply in circulation. So a very typical way of understanding this is supply demand. Supply go down. Naturally, for equilibrium state, for price to stay supply and demand to stay equilibrium, typically the price of it will go up. This is typical economics. So that's the reason why after every halving, you notice a price up, a retracement. After the halving, a price up, a retracement, price up, retracement, and now we are right in the middle of this price up cycle. So how far this will go? This is the main part of this whole stream. Okay, now the thing is, I'm still talking about the details of what exactly is Bitcoin. Okay, so, halving, this thing, right? Some of you guys will be confused what this actually means. Let me explain on a very technical side of Bitcoin transaction for the benefit of those who totally don't understand what this means. So, all Bitcoin transactions are put into blocks, okay, blocks. And once they are placed into blocks, they are verified. And this is done through miners. To cut off all this confusion of those who don't know what is miners, these miners have economic incentive to provide a lot of computational power and electricity for this verification process. So basically, right, when a miner discovers a new block, he will get rewarded based on the number of shares and hash that was submitted. Okay, this is a long story short, what exactly is halving and what do miners do. So Bitcoin, you must know something. Bitcoin is decentralized and safe from hackers. It gives you complete control over your money. You and only you alone can access your funds. No government, no banks can decide to freeze your account suddenly, confiscate your holdings. It's a form of money that no government or bank can control. That's the meaning of decentralized. Further, decentralized also mean about there's no one computer that hold the ledger. So with Bitcoin, every computer participate in the system, also keeping a copy of the ledger, also known as the blockchain. So if you want to hack the system, you basically have to take down the entire thousands of supercomputers which are keeping a copy and also constantly updating it. Meaning to say, it is so secure and difficult to hack, unlike some centralized system out there that actually got compromised a few times. If you actually look at the news, there's certain countries that have their financial institution getting compromised by hackers. Bitcoin, on the other hand, they are much more secure. Okay, these are a few pointers. Okay, another thing. Bitcoin, it is a type of currency that is not built on trust. Because if you look at the back of a dollar note, US dollar note, it say, "In God we trust." Trust in this dollar. It is money. It is real money, legal tender. But can we go to Fort Knox to verify the gold? No, it's all based on faith and trust in the government. But Bitcoin is different. Bitcoin, you can verify everything. Everything is timestamped. There's a verification process. It's not based on a currency built on trust. You trust based on your own verification. So as you can see, it's very different between fiat currency and Bitcoin. So this will give a glimpse of why ultimately Bitcoin is the truest form of money that we should have had right from the beginning of time. Alright? Okay, now talk about the chart. You know about this chart thing? You notice there's this shaded area over here for us to anticipate what price action going to be like for the next few months, years going down the road. Okay, Some must be wondering what exactly is this logarithmic. This is called logarithmic regression chart. What is this logarithmic regression chart all about? I don't understand this. How does this add value to predicting Bitcoin price action? You guys must be asking that, right? We have to know that in analysis of charts in price action, right, such model will add value in future prediction due to the natural workings of the society. Things tend to repeat in certain patterns. Nature tend to repeat in a certain tendency. Okay. To explain this, let me talk about Fibonacci sequencer. You know, in the world of Fibonacci sequence, it's a set of numbers following the rule that each number is equal to the sum of the preceding two numbers. So it is found in everywhere in nature, from the branching of the trees, right, to the leaves, to the pattern of flower petals, even on the human body. Most human body follow the number of 1, 2, 3, 5, from the fingers on each hand to the proportion of your face, also known as the golden ratio. So even design experts use both Fibonacci sequence and golden ratio to guide the architecture, website, and user interfaces. So golden ratio is something that all human beings are interested to, that we find inherently satisfying. Not only for human, nature is the same. Okay? So let me explain. If you go back to the chart over here, the reason why I delve into Fibonacci discussion is because Fibonacci can be applied even on charts in predicting the price action of Bitcoin. This is number one. And number two is to prove my point that patterns will repeat itself. Be it Fibonacci, be it log regression chart, patterns will repeat itself. So in the case of this regression band, right, this is actually calculated, all these bands, right, in short, they are calculated by the formula of y equal, this is a bit technical, but for the sake of a holistic education of what I'm talking about, let me just write down in words. It's equal y equal b log x plus a. So this means that x is the number of days, a is the expected value of y when x equal 1, b is the expected change in the value of y. Okay, this is a bit confusing, but in short, with this graph, it will kind of plot out this curve for us to anticipate what price action going to be like. So if you go to you'll notice, right, all these coordinates over here, there's a lower band. This lower band is called the accumulation phase. Okay, so price action tend to accumulate in the lower bound. That is the exact timing for us to buy Bitcoin, because every cycle, right, after a spike up, after the halving, you anticipate a spike up, but how far you'll go? It will typically go towards the top end of the cycle, top end of the regression band over here. So back then, it hit once, regression band hit twice, 3 times. It's always the case. Regression band, retrace to the accumulation band. Now, where are we heading to? We are heading to the peak of the regression band as expected over here. And if you notice, right, we are still very far away from it. Okay, so the top of the regression band is somewhere around 96,000, But you have to bear in mind that regression band over time, if once X value, okay, X value were to increase for the next few days, right? This Y coordinates, which is the price of Bitcoin, will go up accordingly. So the longer it takes for Bitcoin to rally up, there's a higher chance for it to hit a higher value. So meaning to say, if price action were to hit the higher value maybe 2 to 3 months later, we should expect Bitcoin to go higher even beyond the 140,000. But for now, my estimation will be somewhere around the level of 100,000. 100,000 is a moment whereby you can slowly take off your profit and expect a retracement like this. Okay? Okay, some of you might ask, hey Smurf, can I just don't take any profit? And can I just hold onto Bitcoin all the way? Let me tell you this. In trading, right, we have to ascertain what is the best course of action. For us to do so, we need to know what's the probability of each individual action. Meaning to say, based on probability, the chance of this retracing down after hitting the peak of the regression band is much higher as compared to a possibility of bridging it higher and higher. In my honest opinion, what I feel is the probability of a retracement like this is more than 80%. Out of 10 times, 8 times probably will respect this logarithmic regression analysis, because that's how pattern repeat itself. There's only like less than 20% of chance it will do something like this and hover above it. So with that in mind, it doesn't take a genius to know what is the best course of action, which means once it were to hit near the top range of the regression band, one should always try to get nearly 90% of profit and wait for a retracement back to the accumulation band again before the next cycle of peak, which will coincide in somewhere in year 2012. 2024, that it will be the next halving, right? So only after the next halving, then there will be a chance for another push towards the next peak. That next peak similarly will follow the regression band. So based on regression band, if in the next few years is somewhere around here, then we'll go up to 300 over 1,000, depending on what is the timeline of this whole cycle going to be like. So I think I have explained a lot of things. So now it comes a very important question. If this is public knowledge and that it will go to 100,000, then why is everyone not buying Bitcoin? Right? You must be asking me, if everyone know it, everyone should be buying it, right? Okay. I don't think many people have done a good job in answering this question. There are actually few reasons. Number one, not many people know about Bitcoin. Let's put into perspective. How long do you think it will take for the whole entire mainstream to adopt Bitcoin? Well, let's look at the previous revolution of money. In the 16th century, right, there was this radical proposition to replace gold with gold certificates written on paper. So if you think people find Bitcoin weird, imagine the time where people were told that gold is no longer the money. Bits of paper are. Like, you gotta be kidding me, right? This idea was so radical that it took 400 years until it became broadly deployed in the mainstream society. 400 years. The next is about credit card. You know, credit card was introduced in 1950s. With credit card, right, people were told the pieces of paper that have government seal on them are now pieces of plastics that have a company number on them. And that's it. Don't worry, you will get paid eventually. You know, it took almost 50 years for it to become mainstream. 50 years. So what about Bitcoin? You know, there's a variety of survey out there that done with different results, but I would say the number of people who currently use Bitcoin is around 1.6%, less than 2% in the whole world. Less than 2% of the world population has adopted Bitcoin or know about cryptocurrency or want to use crypto in the first place. Less than 2%. Okay, adoption level is so damn low. Okay, so according to CNBC Personal Finance Survey, right, in 2018, 27% say it's too difficult to understand. 18% said they think it's a scam. The rest said that the risk is too high or they are not interested. Okay, you can see that those who know about Bitcoin and are passionate about it is a very small niche population in the entire world. Not to say those who know about all these charts. Literally less than 0.1% knows about it. That's the reason why not many people buy Bitcoin, because they don't know about it. Most people don't like looking at this kind of stuff, so you should be proud that you're still here, as you like understanding things on a deeper level. Okay, so even Warren Buffett himself, right, he said red poison, Bitcoin is red poison squared, which means red poison is times power of square some more. But stop here for a moment. Do you know what's in Berkshire Hathaway portfolio? Bank of America, Bank of New York, Goldman Sachs, and JP Morgan. Would BTC be a conflict of interest with whatever he's investing? Maybe that's the reason why he said it is a red poison in the first place. This is something that for you to ponder about. The more people buy into Bitcoin, right, the more it is worth. It's no difference from gold. It is just that gold is a hard asset and BTC is a digital asset. People like Elon Musk bought into BTC. What is he saying? He is saying that I believe more in this value as a repository value than in something like in a US bond or US dollar. I believe that this is going to grow in value as people turn away from decentralized government and fiat currency in favor of a currency that is not controlled and not inflatable by outside party. So from all this presentation, you more or less know, hands down, fiat currency, Bitcoin, the differences, and that's the reason why Elon Musk have such a strong conviction on Bitcoin. So am I. Okay, Zara, regarding your question about whether it's a good time to invest in Bitcoin, okay, I have to bear in mind that any investment now, you have to bear in mind there's a very good chance it could have a retracement. This purchase right now is kind of high, but I would suggest you can invest a small amount, because our ultimate target for Bitcoin right now is at least 100,000. So you are based on long-term investor, right? You can buy a portion of Bitcoin right now and hold it until the cycle peak out at somewhere at the regression band of near 100,000. Okay, but personally to me that will be a risky trade, because we are right at the top of the range over here. In fact, the best area to buy is actually when Bitcoin were at the accumulation band at the green zone over here. So anytime when Bitcoin was at the accumulation band over here is the best time to buy. But since it's already far beyond the band and we are right at the smack of a potential rally going up, based on risk and reward, you can start buying Bitcoin. But I would suggest this. If let's say you want to do more like a swing trading for Bitcoin, always set a stop loss, something like this. So let's say you enter right now. Let's be reasonable. Use the week low of 48,000 as a stop loss. Any point of time when it breach this level, sell it off, take a sit back and see how it goes. You're not going to hold it all the way if in the event he retraces all the way back to somewhere this area, like the lowest possibility, the most worst case scenario, right, is when Bitcoin do something like this. Okay, the worst case scenario is when Bitcoin do something like this. This is possible, right? So in that event, you don't want to be the one holding on the Bitcoin and having a big drawdown of near 34%. So that's the worst case scenario. So if I were you and I don't want to miss out the train, I will do something like this. I will set a entry like this, okay, with a stop loss around 48,000 or so. Take profit and let it sit around 100,000. So in that sense, you are risking 1 to win 3 units. Okay, that's if you don't want to miss out a train. Yep. Okay, let me go through a quick summary of what Zara. Hope I answered your question. This is at this point in time, it's not really, yeah, buy Bitcoin is a bit late, but still reasonable. Bear in mind that we are still far away from the top of the regression band. Okay, so why, in summary, right, why Bitcoin is the truest form of money and not rat poison is all summed up in these 3 main points: the pattern, the adoption, and fiat currency. So from pattern, I go through about the case of Fibonacci golden ratio. You know that pattern do repeat itself. Okay, so in the case of big regression band, okay, big regression band over here, they are the same based on the repeated data points and extrapolation. Data points I forget to mention this. You know about data point, how this was formed, right, is based on data point regression. Data point, repeated data points and extrapolation, which means it plug in all the possible data points near the green band for the accumulation phase and the 3 main peak points for the top of the peak regression band. So you notice that it hit 3 main peaks, and the regression band of the bottom side, they actually accumulate more than like 10 samples of the price action over here. So this is actually quite accurate in that sense. Okay, in a typical logarithmic regression band, right, 3 points, to be honest, is not enough. You need at least 8 points for this logarithmic regression band to be very, very accurate. So that's the reason why up to now, right, there are so many YouTubers out there that come up with a lot of speculation of how price action will go, right? Whether it will do something like this, they don't know, because in terms of data points, we only accumulated 3 so far from the typical SOP for regression model of 8 points. But 3, I would say the accuracy could be up to 70 to 80%. Is good enough. That's just based on my own opinion. Okay, so that's about patterns. Based on pattern, you know you tend to repeat itself. This is supported by possibility of this. Second is the adoption. As the economy grows more and more reliant on government spending, and as people see that government are never going to pay back its debts, and the government are going to continue to run up those debts, right? People like Elon Musk probably going to do more and more of this. You are going to see more and more people say, okay, you know what? I'm going to take my money. I don't feel like investing in gold because I can't use gold for actual transaction. Yes, it's a good repository value, but I can't use it for actual transaction. And instead, I will put it in Bitcoin because I can use it at the local grocery stores, and also it happens to hold by transactional value. So the last point is fiat currency is flawed. You know, the value of fiat currency lies in the faith in the government. If you look at the back of the dollar note, it say what? In God we trust, all this. But if one day, this falls apart, certain foreign political elements, miscalculation as well as sabotage, all this incident occurs at the same time. All this could easily lead to mistrust and the downfall of the faith in the government. This should not be underestimated. You know, once this faith of the government is misplaced, right, you will witness something like the hyperinflation in the recent years, such as Zimbabwe, Weimar Germany, Venezuela, and Argentina. All this is very detrimental. The whole currency, fiat currency, just wipe out and useless. The value is gone. You can see like people carrying cartons of cash, right, just to buy a loaf of bread. That is terrible. Okay. So, in summary, right, there are a bunch of different types of cryptocurrency like Ether, Cardano, Polkadots, all the smart contract, blockchain. Anytime there's a market for a different type of crypto, it will create some kind of rivalry among them. So the question is, which one gain credence in the marketplace? It is why at the very beginning it takes big people buying into this sort of stuff to make a difference in the market. The more Elon Musk buy into Bitcoin, the more faith that Bitcoin is a real thing. So the success or fail is entirely based on the public view of whether those things are going to succeed or they are going to fail. And this is why so many people are skeptical of cryptocurrency in the first place. But my feeling is that over time, cryptocurrency, particularly ones that find a place in the market the way that Bitcoin has, I think those are going to continue to rise. I think as we have less and less faith in the centralized government, and it seems like to be that we are right now. And as that happens, right, more and more people will be looking to diversify away from fiat currency, and instead they'll move into places like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the rest of the cryptocurrency market for actual safety and security, despite all the talks about volatility of crypto world. It may be that in the future, the most volatile forms of currency are the ones coming from centralized government. You'll be surprised, alright? Where you are at the mercy of the government printing machine, as opposed to a decentralized group of people who simply wish to engage in transactions that hold their value. So, hopefully this address my whole point of why Bitcoin is the truest form of money in the world in the first place. Hopefully you guys have a stronger conviction why Bitcoin value stems like this, and that fiat currency doesn't hold well in the near future. And based on patterns and how the natural workings of society, the tendency of Bitcoin reaching a certain value in the next few weeks of 100,000, it is very likely. So with that, I hope this addressed most of your Q&A questions. Okay, there's one question about how did I lose my popular investor status previously? Let me address this quickly. Okay, currently, I am at a gain of 72% this year. Okay, I think this stats is not enough for me to explain to you what exactly it means. So I will use this calculator for you to understand how much exact gain is this, because all these gains, right, they are in cumulative amount. So 31% for the year, okay, which means I start off at 1.317 for that year. I have a cumulative gain on top of this gain I had in 2019 of 105%. So I have to multiply, instead of 2.052, okay, which means I have a gain of 170% as of the end of year 2020. Because you have the minus 100% from here, minus 1, which is 170%. So from the gain, it's cumulative again. So you stack up compounded. You have to multiply by what again? 1.725. Okay, so in total, you have minus 1. In total, my gain as of today, this timing, is actually 366% in less than 2 years. 366%. Okay, so this is how you calculate the gains of my portfolio. But the thing about why I lost my PI status is it lost during the crash of oil in somewhere in March period, whereby I gained enormous gains from the sudden crash in oil. I took profit, and because of that crash, right, eToro deemed me as risky trader, and my risk factor spiked to 8 or so back then. So that's the reason why my PI got removed back then for the first time. It's not because I lost money, it's because I earned too much in a short time, because I really know it's going to crash. The second time was not so long ago, during December. Last year December, that's like 3 months ago. I actually long Tesla. Similarly, that time Tesla was so volatile, and due to the sudden gain in my profit, my risk factor spiked on the 7 again. So that's the reason why there's some limitation in the risk factor, because as long as they see you having sudden spike in your profit or so, regardless if profits or loss, they will just deem you as risky trader, and that's the reason why I lost my popular investor twice. Back then when I earned too much in Tesla, and back then when I short oil. Yeah, that's the reason why. Okay. Yeah, I guess I answered most of the questions already. So if you guys have further questions, feel free to post in the comments section. I will try to address them as soon as possible. And if you guys are watching the video, please do me a favor. Please slap the like button. Drop me a comment if possible, because that's the way how it will introduce this video to more and more people out there, and help more people out there about all this educational stuff. So wish you guys all the best, and hope to see you guys in the next Q&A session or update session about my trading journey. Thank you guys. Bye.